a good leaf peeping weekend can generate as much or if not more than a solid month of skiing does up there.
Really? Wow. I know the hotel rooms are like ridiculous and like up in Woodstock and stuff like that, Vermont. It's a criminal what they try to charge you for.
It's yeah, it's like going to Newport during the Newport Boat Show.
Yeah, exactly. Or any time of year now. Newport's crazy with the hotel rooms. I had a wedding out there in July and I'm like, it was like crazy. They want Holiday Inn wanted like $700 for one night, But yeah, I guess if you can get it, God bless them. See, do we have a quorum yet? I'm counting heads here. Let's see. Am I missing that? I've got the wrong view here.
You got six, I think.
Yep. Seven.
Okay, we do. I just had the wrong screen view. I see Bob's out doing his New Hampshire, Vermont thing there, Bob.
Yeah, I'm in Vermont, and a lot of leaves are down.
Wow, you're not kidding. It's already
Yeah.
passed. I missed my
Yeah,
boat. How far up are you?
I'm in southern Vermont. I'm in Grafton.
Wow.
It's so dry. The rivers are dry, and it's not a lot of leaves.
Well, the maples down by us dropped. I didn't realize they dropped up there so early.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I'm really surprised. Yes,
It's supposed to be peak. You're supposed to be peak right now in southern Vermont, right?
not
No.
happening.
Plan B. Okay, never mind. I'll have to go to the route. With on that leaf peeping note, nothing better than getting actual visual confirmation that I have missed it. Wow.
There it is.
Yeah. Wow. Are those mostly maples or those oaks too that are gone?
Maples, oaks aren't gone. All the birch, beech, birch, ash are all down. Willow is down.
Wow.
So it's unusual, really unusual.
Yeah, no. I guess I'll have to wait for it to show up here.
Yeah. Get some rain.
Yeah, exactly. We need rain, that's for sure. On that note, I will call the meeting to order. Item 2, public comment. Do we have any public with us?
No.
Got it. Enjoying the summer day. Number 3, approval of prior minutes, September 2nd, December 15th. Do we have anyone who would like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion. Let me do that.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Old business, hearing none. Moving on to new business, architect's report. I think we have Justin with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'll be brief, mainly because we continue to review closeout documentation, O&M manuals, warranties, etc., as well as close out remaining open ATPs, a number of which are on your roster for review and approval tonight. Other than that, we're kind of nearing the end of the paperwork, and hopefully within the next couple weeks, we'll be there.
Excellent. Any questions for Justin? Hearing none, we'll move over to Zach for the CM update.
Good evening, everybody. To echo Justin's comments for ATPs and for change orders for the project, we're substantially wrapping up everything that we have over the summer and then also early fall, along with some of the day 2 changes, which you'll see this evening as well. We have pricing completed for bulletins 56 and 57, which is going to be for the bypass valve, and then also future PV conduits for the data going up to the roof. So change orders are getting processed and cleaned up this October. Will be substantially complete with changes, and then also just to echo for closeout and commissioning items. We have only a couple dozen still open on site in the field. The majority of those are going to be wrapped up this October as well. No issues with materials either. The only major item that we do have on site is just a water heater that's getting replaced mid to late October by the plumber. The original one that came out had a factory leak, so that's being addressed and handled this month as well. And then lastly, for closeout documents, warranties, O&Ms, etc., We have less than 20 that we're still working with our subcontractors to get the information from them and then submit it over to the design team for review and approval. So all of those items are also tracking to be collected and submitted before the end of the month. So hopefully come October 31st or November 1st, we have a successful term of events and have everything submitted and approved so we can continue to close out the project.
Great. Any questions for Zach? I did have one question. After spending a lot of time in the pollinator garden, I know some of the grass. I'm sure it's on the punch list, but I noticed some of the grass, you know, non-sod grass, looked like it was needed to a little tender loving care. I assume they're going to do something about that this fall. I know it hasn't been it's been a terrible grass season.
Yep.
But
We're having the landscaper. I was talking with him earlier today. So it's as early as potentially this week, we're going to have them come out. So for the athletic fields, those two areas, the north and the south, everywhere around the sod that was planted, they're going to be slice seeding or dormant seeding, all of the seed in that area. And then also working with the upland meadow mix, which is on some of the berms closer to the geo field as well. So that's being addressed over the next couple of weeks, just to make sure we have seed in the ground and or sprayed. So that takes when we still are in the planting season this fall.
and if it ever rains again, we'll hopefully it'll take. So hearing no questions for Zach, we'll turn it over to Adam for his rather lengthy part of the meeting, unfortunately, or fortunately, the case may be.
Come on. That's you love to hear me talk, right, Graham? So yeah, I'll just I'll share quick images, some of which are related to some of the things that are coming up in procurement, but some images of the pollinator path. I believe I shamefully stole these from Zach. But you can see all the plants are installed after some effort on the Saturday from Graham, myself, Nick, and some of the volunteers. There was some additional support needed to get all the plants in, so those are now in along the riverfront there.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
On the other components of the project, not mentioned by Zach and Justin, going through some of the straggler furniture and equipment closeout items. So there were some punch list deliveries. It was the end of last week, as well as installation of some of the additional wireless access points that were procured a little while back. So still tracking some of those items in the same way that we're tracking overall punch list items for the main construction effort. In addition to ATPs getting resolved for scope completed, there are some other financial items that are getting resolved. So I've gotten general ledger data from town finance, and I'm reconciling that with the project's ongoing tracking in anticipation of the next state reimbursement request. In the same vein, the tax consultant for the IRA tax credit got, I'll call it the second to last wave of information. So there's nothing outstanding that the project team needs to provide the town's tax consultant at this time. Just when we have our final, all of our final documents, including final pay recs, that'll be the last submission to the tax consultant to substantiate their eventual submission to the federal government for the geothermal tax credit payout. So all is looking good on that front.
And that's the end of the year, Adam. That goes in like at the or the January after the.
Correct. They, based on how the town has structured their program, because the town obviously doesn't file taxes like you or I or a corporation would, or at all rather. The consultant can't submit until after the new year because the town geothermal was previously submitted. That's my layman's understanding, but point being is that it can't get submitted until after the new calendar year. So we're basically primed for that. It's just, like I said, once we get the final pay requisitions and final a couple other final documents, submit that over to the tax consultant, and that should be all squared away. Otherwise, the other effort, which you'll see also on the procurement items today, is some of these separate second day two projects, what do you want to call them, namely Ryerson and Solar. So we're working with the hazmat consultant to get that second smaller round of targeted testing scheduled at Ryerson. And then for solar, the Tecton Kohler Ronan proposal is on the docket here for this evening to get that effort started. How that project would proceed is something we're discussing on actively, but at least to get some of the documentation moving, that's the intention there. So that's what I've got for you this evening, besides the host of ATPs and the invoice packet.
Are you ready, Sharon? You
Sure.
hope you- and Woody, I'm counting on some assistance from you, obviously, too.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Our little tag team here.
Okay, Adam, if you could share your screen, moving on to item number 5 or 6, whichever.
Yes. So as usual, start off with the Gilbane ATP items. First one's actually just for reference because the pollinator plants that you saw in the previous photo were approved on an expedited basis. So we'll get this ATP cleaned up for submission back, but just again, reporting back here on the pre-authorization, if you will, in between meetings by Peter and George.
I think they gave us a few extra plants, by the way, based on my count, but that's at least they seem to be a lot more than I anticipated.
Yeah, TC gave a hefty donation to the.
I was going to say, I was like,
You did receive some extra plants, correct?
okay. I thought I was crazy when I was trying to put them in. I'm like, the endless supply of plants. So that's good.
Awfully nice of him since he didn't have to carry them.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Nick, you looked great with the wheelbarrow on this.
Yeah.
All right, starting off here, ATP 47. This is the should be the final revision for this ATP number. It's the use of allowance, owner's allowance, to complete the DAS cell booster system. If you recall, there's been a couple of requests that we've had for this along the way. So this is for use of $5,578 for the final round of testing, some installation support, and documentation for the system. It would leave just over $10,000 available left in that allowance. Zach, I believe we're closed out on this, right?
Yep, we're closed out on this item, so that $10,502 is going to come back as an owner credit.
Yeah. So this approval is technically for $0. It's just authorizing Gilbane to utilize that owner's allowance for these costs that were incurred. Next item, ATP 98 for $15,420. This is an item we've been tracking for some time and kind of gone through a number of dives into the scope. But essentially, it's for additional condensate pumps that were required for the heat pumps identified back in Bulletin 46. In short, the piping routing that was required to get the heat pumps into the rooms in coordination with struck steel and some of the other components. They needed additional condensate pumps to actually move the condensate because they couldn't be gravity fed. So this is an item that, like I said, the team has been tracking for some time to make sure that the scope as required made sense, and we've collectively resolved this item in this ATP 98. ATP 111 is a credit for $930. There was some fencing along the north property line that had some rocks and tree roots and impediments. So to make the fencing work with those impediments, less fencing was actually required. So it was a return of material and a credit back to the town. ATP 116. This is also an item we've been talking about from some time now as we were driving down to substantial completion of the certificate of occupancy. This is for $25,114 for a change in the solenoid valves in the fill vault assembly. Effectively, there was some valves that were prescribed by CT Water. Ultimately, different valves were required in order to make the system work, including UL ratings at the tank. So that was something that was not in the subcontractor scope and needed to be a change in order to make the fire break tank fire pump work in order to get our certificate of occupancy. So this was the net result of this change stemming from those original valve specifications.
And you've been tracking that all the way along, right? Right. Ed?
Yes, these items are, you notice some of the numbers are a little well before some of the more recent change order numbers. They've been flagged on the contingency log that I've been sharing with the SBC for some time now. So this is not a new 25,000 compared to what we've been allocating. It's used from contingency. Next one, ATP 138, decent credit for $5,638. There were some switches in the in Gilbane's and the subcontractor's contract. The ultimately different switches meeting town specs were specified as part of the furniture package. So this is just returning these switches because you didn't need both. And now the ones that are installed are the ones that came out of the actual AV system networking system as required for the furniture package, or AV package, I should say. ATP 139, another credit for $3,475. There was some materiality double up or change rather in a vestibule. So the vestibule was now been installed to match all the wall tile that was in the corridor. That was ultimately a net credit immateriality there at that vestibule. So savings to the job to have it match all the wall tile that was in the corridors elsewhere.
You can keep going with these credits, by the way, Adam. Don't feel like you have to rush through the credits. If you find as many as you can find, keep going.
I figured you wouldn't mind, but I don't have any more up my sleeve this evening. So
yeah.
ATP 140 for $14,355 for geothermal bypass actuator. Justin or Peter, do you want to speak to this one? Just because this kind of came out of some of the mechanical system updates we talked about in the field.
Well, Justin, go ahead. I mean, I can
Yeah.
chime in if you need me.
Oh, okay. So the heat pumps were not creating a high enough return temperature from the geothermal loop for free reheat in order to dehumidify. So the solution was to either manually partially close the bypass valve, which could have been done seasonally, or automate so facilities did not have to do this twice a year. So this, through discussion with operations, the decision, and I think the correct decision, was to automate this. So we weren't relying on the manual kind of partial opening of the valve. So that's what this cost is to provide the modulating valve on the automatic system. So Peter, did the architect represent the mechanical or the building systems well enough there?
Very good, very good. Just one little addition is that if we have this as part of the automation in the BMS, we do get to monitor this and also set it to temperature relation, so that we can get a better control on the glycol going through the building. In essence, we made two loops: one loop in the building, one loop in the field. As the loop in the building requires fresh glycol, that valve will open up and allow fluid to go into it, and as it needs to, it'll dump it back in. It's basically well, not, lack of a better word, a poor man's hydro separator. So.
All right, any questions on this one before I move on?
Peter, what temperature are we looking for reheat?
I'm going to have to divert that to ABS. They're still working on that, but I think you heard earlier in the summer, Woody, the building being as efficient as it is was only using 3 to 4 degrees out of the geofield, so we couldn't get the temperature of the water up high enough to dehumidify.
Right. But that, we want to minimize how high we do that. And maybe that can be built into the BMS eventually. I mean, the higher you have it, the less
campus. I know that the town campus is running 74-degree water inside the building, and then they add that as needed to keep it at a pretty steady temperature. But that was their set temperature. It's a whole different building, so we'll have to rely on.
Yeah, and we don't know what. Yeah, and we don't know what it is at this point clearly. But
right.
The higher the differential between the two temps that the pump's working on determines the efficiency of the pump. So that'd be something we'd want to certainly monitor.
Okay. Next item, ATP 141, $2,272. Is sticking with the theme of some of the wall protection. There was a section of wall near one of the corridors, I believe it's by the art room or the STEM room, I can't forget which. But during while the students are waiting to go to the buses, standing up against the wall, and wall started getting scuffed up. So this is for additional wall tile in that area to help prevent further damage there. ATP 142, $6,869. This is for the Bulletin 56 additional conduits for data to support a future PV system. So this is the bulletin that had been drafted to capture that work that we've been talking about for a while now.
Boy, that's great. Better than we expected, Adam.
Oh, for the cost? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll set it up nicely for the upcoming effort, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Okay.
ATP 143, $1,576. This is something that I was talking about with Peter recently, based on the media center staff going through and trying to utilize the space and wanting additional flexibility as part of being able to move teaching materials and items on carts around the media center. So this is adding 2 outlets below the existing Promethean boards in the media center to help facilitate that educational need, operational need. So adding additional quad outlet on this wall and an additional quad outlet on this wall. Peter, to that point, just in terms of timing, was that time duration we'd sent trying to get the team out there in November? Does that seem amenable just to align with their availability?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. Yep.
Perfect. All right, so
We'll track to have that done on Tuesday, the 4th, then, Peter, assuming approval tonight.
and then the final ATP for Gilbane, ATP 144, $2,244. This is also a cleanup item for some changes to the exit signage. The exit signage as specified, we've met code requirements as the fire marshal was walking through. Based on actually looking at the field, there appeared to be some, it wasn't as clear in their opinion. So there was a desired change from having it be translucent signage to having a mirrored back to help improve graphics. So that was something requested by the fire marshal as we were coming down towards certificate of occupancy. All right. Pause there before moving on to other procurement and invoices. Any other options, or should I put up the motions? Any other questions, or should I put up the motions?
I think pull up the motions unless you're otherwise.
Like to make a motion to approve ATP 0047V2 for the use of owner allowance number 1 in the amount of $5,578 for testing, antenna installation support, and documentation for the distribution antenna system for cellular phones.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve ATP 0098 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $15,420 for condensate pumps for heat pumps per Bulletin 46.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve ATP 01111 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract for a credit in the amount of $930 for an adjusted fence due to site impediments.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0116 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $25,114 for a change in valves at the fill vault.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0138 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract for a credit in the amount of $5,638 for returned PA system switches instead purchased by the town.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0139 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract for a credit in the amount of $3,475 for a change in the wall material aligned with the rest of the corridors.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0140 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $14,355 for modulating geothermal valve as requested in Bulletin 57.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0141 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $2,272 for a school requested additional wall tile at the corridor to protect from future damage.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0142 for the change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $6,869 for additional data conduits to support the future PV system per Bulletin 56.
I will definitely second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0143. Did I just do that one? No, that's okay. 0143 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $1,576 for additional power receptacles in the media center.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve ATP 0144 for a change to Gilbane's existing construction contract in the amount of $2,244 for revised emergency exit signage per fire marshal request.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you. The last procurement item, this has been previously presented, but it's being re-upped here based on some of the discussions at the Board of Selectmen meeting was a few weeks ago, and the desire to, for the town's stated desire to make steps forward on a future PV effort. So this is the same change order to Tecton's contract to start the design and documentation for a solar system to be purchased. So this would effectively take the project from, or I guess kind of start the documentation for a project from this idea into having some documents that could then be potentially put out to bid. So
Yeah, I think, Adam, there was some question about the what was included for construction services at one point. I think the last time Woody had a question about the
right. There was a clarification because Kohler Ronan's backup reference construction phase services, construction administration services, but that's excluded. And Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, that's excluded from this. So this contract amendment from Tecton would, like I said, just take us through effectively bidding rather than go all the way through construction when we don't have bids yet. We don't have construction schedule. It's not even, we're not sure who's managing the project quite just yet. So this is just to get the documentation in place and not yet trip over into CA.
That's correct, Adam.
so yeah, 20,000 fees. Yeah, that's reflected in the cover.
Yeah,
correct, right there. Yep.
Yep.
Got it. And the we don't have the construction funds to do this, but we're doing this to advance the project. And as Adam said, in terms of how this is actually procured, it's not going to be part of the Gilbane construction contract. So this will be a separate task. But in order to keep this moving forward, which has to be, I think it has to be in construction by the beginning of July 1 of next year, due to the recent legislative changes on the federal level. So it makes sense to, I think it makes sense to proceed with this. So any discussion?
Absolutely. Mm-mm.
So do we have, you have a motion, Adam, ready to,
Of course he does. I make a motion to approve additional service request number 2 from Tecton in the amount of $38,400 for solar panel design work.
I'll second that.
okay, you're on a hot streak today, Woody.
Oh, yeah.
In favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And last item for me, invoice packets. If you notice, we're doing these a little more rapidly just to get some folks closed out. So this basically took us through about mid last week. And we'll have another invoice packet again at the next meeting. Some invoices from CDW for both the Promethean boards and display mounts that were delivered and installed. That work is complete now for all the Promethean boards. I believe they might have a remaining invoice balance to pay out, but the work itself is done. Meteor, it's their very large invoice for all the work that they did for all the furniture. If anyone recalls, there was an additional service for some additional chairs and desks and things after coordinating with the principal. That's not reflected in this amount because those items are still forthcoming, but or they're still being closed out, I should say. I believe they were delivered last week. But point being is that this invoice covers the initial base scope amount that's complete and closed out. Presidio for some wireless access point materials, and Tecton's monthly invoice for a total of just over 1.3 million.
Got it. Hearing no questions for Adam, we'll pull up the, Sharon, would you bring us home with the?
Sure. I make a motion to approve invoice package dated 10/6/2025, including invoices from CDW, Meteor, Presidio, and Tecton for a total approval of $1,333,641.41.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 7, public comment. I assume, Raquel, do we have any public comment?
No.
Moving on to item number 8, remarks. Anyone have any remarks they would like to?
I'm curious, is the pickup or drop off and pickup gotten any better with the traffic?
Yeah, it's gotten quite a bit better. They've actually done some traffic redesign of the parking lot with parents coming in. That's helped. Right turn only has helped. And people have gotten used to it now, so it's gotten way better.
Good.
Any complaints from the neighbors or any? I mean, I know they live next to a school, but any?
No further complaints.
Beautiful. Any other remarks?
Mm-mm.
Anybody want to take a look at the pollinator garden pictures? Don't do it justice. So if anybody's out in the area, we can. We'll have a very substantial pollinator garden. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I would love to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second that.
Woody. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Bye,
Adjourn.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.